In this video, we're going to look at how we transport things around neurons. And there are two different pathways you can use to transport things around your neuron. You can use anterograde transport, or you can use retrograde transport. So let's get our bearings first and see where we are with this neuron. Here are some dendrites coming into the cell body. And here's my nucleus. Will be sitting here inside the cell body. Okay, so think about it. How does a cell work? You use your DNA that's inside your nucleus to make your proteins. Remember, transcription and translation. And remember, most neurotransmitters are proteins, or they have proteins involved somewhere. So if you are making a neurotransmitter, you will make it up here in the cell body. So this is where we're going to make our neurotransmitter. I'll just put NT as short for neurotransmitter. That'll actually be made here in the cell body, where you've got your nucleus, where you've got your rough endoplasmic reticulum called the Nissel's body. So when you're making these neurotransmitters, you're actually making them in the cell body. So now, where do we need those neurotransmitters to ultimately be? We need them to be down here in the little vesicle ready to come out of the axon terminal for the synapse, right? So how are you going to get your neurotransmitter from here, cell body, all the way down to here, where you need it? You put it into a tiny tunnel, and the tunnels are called microtubules, which you heard about earlier when we were talking about cells in chapter 3. So basically you put your neurotransmitter into the microtubule, and then it pops out the other end. It's like putting something into, when you go to the drive-up ATM or drive-up bank, you put your check and your deposit slip into the little container, and then it gets sucked into the bank on that vacuum tube. It's kind of the same thing with these microtubules. You put your neurotransmitter in one end, they travel down the tube, and then they pop out the other end. Okay, so you're shipping things from the cell body down to the synapse, and when you do that, it's called anterograde axonal transport. So your axon is actually full of these microtubules, tiny tunnels that can carry things from the cell body down to the axon terminal. Now, how about if you have something that you want to bring back? So what kind of things would you want to bring back? Maybe waste products, maybe parts of your neurotransmitter to be recycled. Remember, we saw if you break down ACH, you get acetate and choline, and the choline part was recyclable. So you could be picking up waste, or you could be picking up recycling. If you want to get rid of the waste, you got to take it up to the cell body, because that's where you're going to have the lysosomes with the enzymes to break down these waste products anyway. So you'll be picking up some things here, and you want to ship them back the way. And it's exactly the same idea. You've got another microtubule, except this one is sending things back this way, right? So if you're sending things back, you're sending them retro, right? Retrograde. So this is where we're shipping things from the axon terminal back up to the cell body. Usually waste products that we're trying to get rid of, or parts of neurotransmitters that we can recycle and use to make more new neurotransmitters. Now, one of the main reasons that I'm mentioning this, these tunnels, is that later we're going to talk about dementia. We're going to talk about Alzheimer's disease and situations where your brain stops working like it's supposed to, and you lose your cognitive capability and you lose your ability to make memories. So for everything to work correctly in the nervous system, your neurons have to be working correctly. And one of the key things for a neuron to stay working correctly is that these tunnels have to be in good working order, right? If the tunnel collapses, right, here's a collapsed one, right, so it's all squished in the middle there. So if this happens to your microtubule, are you going to be able to ship anything through this tubule if it's all collapsed? No. So later when we're talking about dementia, one of the key proteins that's a big interest to dementia researchers is a protein called tau. And tau is actually a protein that holds your microtubule open and keeps your microtubule healthy and open and ready for business. So if you're missing this protein tau, or if something goes wrong with the tau proteins inside your microtubule, the tubules collapse. And if the tubules collapse, you can't ship anything. If you can't ship anything, you're going to have no neurotransmitter down here. If you've got no neurotransmitter, this neuron does not work, right? So later when we're talking about dementia, and I mentioned these tubules collapsing, these are the tubules that I was talking about. And they're really important to keep your neuron healthy, to keep your neuron functional, and to make sure that your neurotransmitters are delivered down here to the place where they're needed in this axon terminal.